Hello everyone. In this video session, I am going to practically demonstrate a Java program to print the diamond number pattern. So what exactly is this diamond number pattern? Let me show you directly. So this is how guys a diamond number pattern looks like. As you can see, this pattern has some numbers and they are shaped in the form of a diamond. That's why we call this as diamond number pattern. We need to write a Java program to print this diamond number pattern now, but we cannot write the entire code at a go and print this kind of pattern, guys. We have to we have to follow a step by step process rather than directly writing the code for printing this diamond pattern having numbers. What we have to do is we have to start with this simple pattern first. Once you write the code for this simple pattern, then you are going to customize the code to become the next level of pattern like this. Okay, this pattern will customize and print the second. At the second phase, we'll print this kind of pattern. At the third phase, we'll print this kind of pattern. At the fourth phase, we'll print this kind of pattern. And finally, we'll get the diamond number pattern. So it's a step-by-step process, guys. So let me start writing the code for printing this diamond number pattern by starting with this pattern first. Okay, this will make our job easy, guys. Otherwise, you will not understand how this diamond number pattern got printed. If you start with this basic pattern, then you will understand, guys, what we are doing and all. So let's print this normal pattern first, the first phase of pattern, having all the asterisk symbols or stars. So before writing this code for this pattern, how many rows are there in this pattern? We need to find out how many rows are there in this pattern. Total number of rows is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Total 7 rows are there. So we need to write a for loop here which will iterate 7 times. Since there are 7 rows here, in this pattern there are 7 rows. So we have to write a for loop which will iterate 5 times. Int I is equal to 1, I less than or equal to 7, then I plus plus like this. So this for loop is going to iterate how many times? 7 times. Now guys, the next thing here is after finding about the number of rows, now we need to find out how many stars are there in every row. Stars. In the first row, how many stars are there? One star. What about second row? The second row, there are three stars. Third row, five stars. Fourth row, seven stars. Fifth row, again five stars. Sixth row, three stars. And last row, that is seventh row, one star. You see, 1, 3, 5, 7, 5, 3, 1. This kind of stars we have to print. How to get this kind of output? Okay. For that, guys, there is a way. What we'll do is we'll say for int j is equal to 1, j less than or equal to some count, number of stars. Okay. So here this I stands for rows, guys. The first row, how many stars should be printed? This for loop is going to print the number of stars, guys. This for loop is meant for printing the stars. But how many stars should be printed in the first row? When I is equal to 1, that stands for first row. How many stars should be there in the first row? One star. When I becomes 2, that is for second row, how many stars should be printed? 3 stars should be printed. For getting that kind of logic, guys, which will print 1, 3, 5, 7, 5, 3, 1 kind of stars in each and every associated row. For that, what we'll do is we'll provide something like this. J is equal to 1, j less than or equal to count. I'll let you know about this count. For now, blindly write down count here. Now j plus plus. Here, I'm going to print out stars. Okay. Here we should not be writing print ln. We should be using the normal print statement and just inside the double quotes provide star symbol. Fine. So this for loop is meant for printing the stars. But how many stars? In the first row, how many stars? In the second row, how many stars? That will be decided by this count variable. Okay. In the first row, how many stars will be decided by this count variable. Fine. So here we'll declare something like this. Int count is equal to 0. Now inside this for loop, we'll write if I is less than or equal to 4, write something like this. if I is less than or equal to 4, then what we'll do, we'll say count is equal to 2 into I minus 1. This is the formula, guys. Let's see how far we can go with this formula and all. Okay, else I'll do something. Okay, for now I'll not tell you what is else. Fine. So let's see in the first iteration how many stars will be printed. Let's see. Okay, with this logic, whatever the logic we have written so far, we have to understand in a slow manner, guys. Okay, no need to hurry up. You see here I becomes 1, right? The first iteration of the for loop, I is 1. 1 less than or equal to 4, true. Count is equal to, initially count is set to 0, but here since I is less than or equal to 4, 1 is less than or equal to 4, true. Count is equal to 2 into I is 1 minus 1. 2 into 1 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. So count will become 1. That means in the first iteration, how many stars will be printed? J is equal to 1 till j is less than or equal to count. Count is 1 now. The first iteration, count has become 1. Only 1 star will be printed. 1 to 1 means only 1 star. When j becomes 2, 2 less than or equal to 1 will not be true. So we'll go outside the for loop, right? Only when j is equal to 1, this is possible. Now when I becomes 2, when I becomes 2, let's see here, 1 star will be printed, that's fine. When I becomes 2, here, yes, 2 is less than or equal to 4 is true. Till 4th row, guys, okay, we are checking this condition till 4th row, like this, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why I mentioned if I is less than or equal to 4. Until 4 rows, this formula should be applied for calculating the count of stars. That's the reason we have mentioned I less than or equal to 4. So fine, anyhow, when I become 2, 2 less than or equal to 4 is true. 2 into 2 is 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. So count will become 3. Is that so? Yes. In the second row, count should be 3. Count of stars should be 3. When count becomes 3, when count becomes 3, here j is equal to 1, j less than or equal to count. That means starting from 1 till 3. How many stars will be printed? 1, 2, 3. 3 stars will be printed. This is what we need, right? This is what we need. What about the third row, guys? Third row means I becomes 3. In the third row, I becomes 3. When I becomes 3, count is 3 is less than or equal to 4 is true again. And count is equal to 2 into I. That is 2 3 is 6. 6 minus 1 is 5. Count will become 5. So here starting from 1 till 5. How many stars? 5 stars. Yes, in the third row we need 5 stars. Fine. Next one. I becomes 4. 4 less than or equal to 4 is again true. So here count is equal to 2 into 4. 2 into I means 2 4 is 8. 8 minus 1 is 7. Count is 7. So how many stars? Starting from 1 till 7. So 7 stars will be printed. You see here 7 stars will be printed. But after the fourth row, guys, the stars are reducing. You see after the fourth row has 7 stars, but fifth row has 5 stars. Sixth row has 3 stars. Seventh row has 1 star. That means how many stars are getting reduced in the next row? After 4 rows, till 4 rows, this formula is fine. Count is equal to 2 into I minus 1 is a fine for printing the number of stars. But after the fourth row, once I becomes 5, this condition will become false, right? So this formula is gone. Up to 4 rows only this formula need to be applied. But after 4 rows, when I becomes 5, we need to go to the else block. And how many stars should be printed in the fifth row? The number of stars that need to be printed in the fifth row should be minus 2 of the previous count, right? The previous row, that is fourth row, there are 7 stars, but in the fifth row, there are 5 stars. That means 7 minus 2 is 5. For that reason, guys, when I becomes 5, here simply you will say count is equal to count minus 2. Earlier count is 7. 7 minus 2, 5. Count will become 5 here. Count will become 5 here. So here, j is equal to 1, j less than or equal to 5. So how many stars will be printed in the fifth row? 5 stars will be printed. Like that, guys, we have to implement the logic. Now finally I becomes 6 again. Again this condition is false. So we'll go to the else block. Again count is equal to count minus 2. Earlier count is 5. 5 minus 2 is 3. So 3 will be stored into this count. So this for loop will print how many stars? 3 stars. Starting from 1 till 3. 3 stars. Is it so? Yes, 3 stars. After 5, 3 stars. Now I becomes 7. 7 less than or equal to 7 is true. We'll go inside. Here 7 less than or equal to 4 is not true. So we'll go to the else block. Again, count is equal to count minus 2. Earlier count is 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. That 1 will be stored into this count. And here for loop will iterate according to this count. So j is equal to 1. J less than or equal to current value of count is 1. So only one star will be printed in the last row. 7th row, only one star. So perfectly working fine, guys. Okay. So now I becomes 8. This condition will become false and will come out of the for loop. Simple. Okay. So hope you understood how why we have written this kind of condition, and up to four rows we need to apply this formula. But after from fifth row onwards, we have to decrease the number of stars by 2. Okay, till four rows we need to use this formula for creating the count of stars. But after that, fifth row onwards, we need to decrement the count of stars by 2. Fine. Anyhow, so after printing these stars, number of, let's say in the first row you print one star. After printing one star, your control should go to the new line, right? Like this. After that, you have to print 3 stars. Again, your control should go to the new line and print the stars. Again, after printing this 5 stars, again your control should go to the new line. So every time after printing the stars, we need to go to the new line. For that reason, guys, after this for loop, you need to provide system.out.println statement. This will take you to the new line. Now, this is the first initial code, guys, which will print the first type of pattern. Okay, the first phase of pattern. So before going to this diamond pattern, we have to start from this normal star pattern, and after that we need to keep on customizing until we reach this diamond pattern. Fine. Anyhow, let's see whether we got the first phase of the pattern here. That is 1 3 5 7 5 3 1 kind of star should be printed in the output. Using this logic, whatever we written so far, when you run this, should get that output, guys. You see, we got that 1 3 5 7 5 3 1. Cool, good. So next thing, we need to customize the code for printing these numbers now. Instead, in place of the stars, we should print these numbers. Okay, just in place of the stars. Here, one should be printed. Here, two should be printed. Instead of the stars in the third row, all the number 3 should be printed. Instead of stars in the fourth row, all the 4 numbers should be printed instead of star, like that. Five, like again, after this 4, again 3, 2, 1. You see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1 should be printed like that. So how to do that? How to convert these stars into numbers like this? Let's do that. Further, guys, here we'll say int number. Number is equal to 0, I'll say initially. Okay. So here till 4, till fourth row, 1, 2, 3, 4 are fine, right? Till fourth row, 1, 2, 3, 4 are fine. So what I will do here is initially I'll set the number to 0, but after that, in this if condition, I less than or equal to 4, here we'll write number is equal to simply I, guys. Okay, I'll say number is equal to I, and I'll print this number instead of this star. You see, I'm changing these two places. Here I am saying number is equal to I, and here I'm printing the number. So what will happen? Let's see. The first iteration when I is equal to 1, let's see. Okay, when I is equal to 1, so 1 less than or equal to 4 is true. So number is equal to 1. Number is equal to I. That means number is equal to 1, guys. So here 1 will be printed. How many times it will be printed? The first row, how many times the number has to be printed? One time. So one time the number 1 will be printed. Now, then I becomes 2, the second row. When I becomes 2, here number also is 2. Here number is also 2. So here you will be printing number 2. How many times? The second row, the number 2 will be printed 3 times because of this for loop. In place of the stars case, stars used to be printed 3 times, right? In the second row. So in place of that, starting from 1, count 3. 1, 2, 3. Here number will be printed instead of the star. That is the number 2. That is the value of I, which is assigned to the number. The number will be printed. 2, 2, 2 kind of thing will be printed. Okay. In place of the stars, this 2 will be printed. That's it. When I becomes 3, again this condition is true. And here 3 will be assigned to the number, and you are printing the number how many times? 5 times. Third row, 5 times. So 5 threes will be printed. Simple. Now I becomes 4. I becomes 4. So number also will be assigned with 4. Number is equal to I means number will become 4. Here you are printing the number 4. How many times? 7 times. Okay. 7 times the number 4 will be printed. Done. Next thing. I becomes 5. Here when I becomes 5, how many times the number should be printed here and which number should be printed? Okay. When I becomes 5, that means fifth row. Which number to be printed? After 4, we generally think that 5 should be printed, but here 3 is there. How to get this number 3 assigned to the number here? Here guys, in the else block, the first row, second row, third row, fourth row, this formula will be applied. That's fine. But in case of the fifth row, sixth row, seventh row, we have to apply a different formula where we have to say number is equal to 8 minus total number of rows is 7. So 8 rows plus 1 is 8. 8 minus, we have to say I. Let's see what will happen. In the fifth row, when I becomes 5, that means fifth row. 8 minus 5 means what guys? 3. Number 3 will be there. So here number 3 will be printed. Okay, 8 minus 5 is 3. So number will become 3 and here 3 will be printed. How many times? This many number of times, 5 times. Now I becomes 6. Again this condition will become false. You will go to the else block. Here number is equal to 8 minus I means 6. 8 minus 6 is 2. Number is 2. So here the number 2 will be printed. How many times? 3 times. 2 to 2 kind of. Okay. Now I becomes 7. Again this condition will be false. So we'll go to the else block. 8 minus 7 is 1. So number becomes 1 and you will print the number 1. How many times? 1 time. Done. Like this guys, we have to accommodate. That's it. You don't have to do any other change now. So now when you run this code, when you run this customized code, you will get the second phase of pattern. First phase of pattern is already done. Now you just modified this code with this number thing everywhere by writing some code and logic. You are printing the number with the same number of times that were there in the previous pattern. Fine. Now in place of the stars, with the customized code, the number should be printed like this: 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 7 times, 3, 5 times, 2, 3 times, and 1, 1 time. Like that. We have to get the output. Let's see whether we are getting the output or not. Run this. You see, we got the output 1, 2, 2, 2. You see, everything is perfectly fine. So we achieved the second pattern also. Now we need to move to the next pattern. Okay. Before we reach the diamond pattern, we have to go through all these patterns one by one. Okay. Once this is done, we went here. Now from here, we need to customize the code to get this pattern now. Next level of pattern is this pattern. So here guys, what is the difference between this pattern and this pattern? Here 1 is there, that's fine. Here 2 is there, that's fine. But after 2, instead of 2, 2, the value of this 2 is getting decreased by 1, 2, 1, 0. If 3 is there, the next value is 2, the next value is 1. You see minus 1 is happening. 1 minus 1 is 0, 0 minus 1 is minus 1. Here 4, 3, 2, here all 4s are there, but here 4 minus 1 is 3, 3 minus 1 is 2, 2 minus 1 is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0, 0 minus 1 is minus 1, minus 1 minus 1 is minus 2, like that. All the numbers are like that only, right? So how to get this kind of thing? So for that guys, simple change we have to do. That is, here after printing this number, you have to say number minus minus. That's it. Nothing more than that. This number will be printed that many number of times. But if you say number minus minus, the next iteration, a value less than the number will be printed. So this is a simple thing guys we have to do for getting this pattern now. Okay. By just decreasing this number by 1 in the same for loop, the next iteration of the for loop, this original number, if it is 4, the next iteration, here it will become 3 and 3 will be printed. Again, minus 1, 2, the next iteration 2 will be printed like that. Like that we are simply providing number minus minus to get this output. Let's see, let's run this and see whether we are getting this pattern by writing that minus number minus minus in the for loop. Let's see, run this. You see, we got the output 1, 2, minus 1 is, if 2 is printed here, then number minus minus will make it 1, right? That is number minus 1, that is 1. So in the next iteration, 1 will be printed. Again, 1 minus 1 is 0. The next iteration, 0 will be printed. Like that, guys. Okay. So here, 7 numbers have to be printed. So first number, it's starting with 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, minus 1. This for loop iterates 7 times in this fourth row. and every time it prints the number, it will decrement the number and print. That's a simple logic, guys, we have to do to get this third phase of the output. So now we are good with the third phase of output. We already got it. Now we need to convert this into this kind of thing. How to do that? Here there is small difference, guys. You see, that is here. Let's say 1 is same, but in the second row, if you see 2 is there, 2 is there. After 2, 1 is there. After 1, what is that? Minus 1 is there. But we should not be going to 0, guys. After 1, again we have to increment. Till 1, we can decrement. You see, starting from 4 to 1, we have to decrement. First number is 4, minus 1 is 3, minus 1 is 2, minus 1 is 1. But once we achieve this 1, then we need to increment, start incrementing again. Here the difference is like that only, right? If you consider this fourth row, guys, 4, 3, 2, 1 is there. After that, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1. So 0, minus 1, minus 2 is coming. But here in this case, once we reach this one, we have to again increment it. Till we reach 1, we have to decrement. But once we reach 1, we have to increment. So 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4. Here 4 minus 1 is 3, 3 minus 1 is 2, 2 minus 1 is 1. 1 plus, here plus will happen. Till here minus. But from here 1 plus 2, 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4. Here complete minus. Starting to end, complete minus. So how to get this kind of output? To get this kind of output, guys, we need to identify the position of this one. If you clearly observe, 1 is in the center. The first row, only one number is there and 1 is in the center. In the second row, you see 1 is in the middle, guys, exact middle place. 1 is in the exact middle place, right? What about 1 in the third row? Is 1 in the exact middle place or not? 3 to 1. Yes, 1 is in the middle place only. Here also 1 is in the middle place. Everywhere 1 is in the middle place. So what we'll do here is we'll write a simple logic to convert this kind of output into this kind of output. So after 1, we have to increment it rather than decrementing it. Okay. So for that, guys, there is a simple thing that we can do. So here, after printing the number, here first, let's say in the fourth row, first the number 4 will be printed. Okay, the number 4 will be printed. But when you should print minus minus, when you have to make minus minus, you have to write some logic here. Okay, so for that, what we'll do is int some middle number. We have to identify the middle number, guys. Middle number position or something you can say. Middle number position. This is middle number position. Middle number position is equal to what is the position of what is the position of 1? 1 is a middle number everywhere, right? How to find the position of the 1? For that, guys, we have to do something like this. Total number of numbers. Count means total number of numbers. For example, here, what is the count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is the count. So count divided by 2. So in case of fourth row, in case of fourth row, what is the count? Count is 7. 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. That means we have to consider only numeric value, like we should not consider the decimal value. So we have 3.5, we have to consider 3 only, right? When you divide 7 by 2, it will result in 3.5, but we should not consider the decimal value. So we'll have to consider the result as 3 now. 3 plus 1, 4. Middle number position is 4. Let's see whether the middle number 1 is at the position 4 or not. Yes. You see 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. Middle number 1 is at the fourth position only. If you consider this one, let's say here total count is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is the count. So 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. 2.5 we have to ignore the decimal value. So only 2 we have to consider. 2 plus 1 is 3. Let's see whether this one is in the third position or not. In the third row, 1, 2, 3. Yes, 1 is in the third position. Like that, guys, we have to find the position of the one, which is a middle number. Okay. You see everywhere 1 is a middle number. To get the position of the middle number 1, we have to write this logic as count divided by 2 plus 1. Okay. Count is the number of numbers that need to be printed in that particular row is a count. Count divided by 2 plus 1 will give the middle position. Now we'll write a condition here. Once you get the middle position, we'll write a condition. Till where we need to decrement the number. You see, starting from 4, we are decrementing the number. But here, according to the new pattern, if you want to get this kind of output, you need to decrement this 4 until it becomes 1. Until middle number, you have to decrement. After that, you have to increment, right? From here, you need to increment. If you don't increment here, you will get this output. everything will be decremented, like it will go up to -2. But here the expected outcome is 4 3 2 1 2 3 4. Like this we need to get the output 4 3 2 1 2 3 4 kind of output we should get. So for that we have to decrement until it becomes 1. After becoming 1 we have to increment it. So for that guys, what I will do here is I'll write a condition here. If the position, this middle number position guys, is if j is less than the middle number position, then only decrement. Okay, this iteration is nothing but the position of the number, right? Position of the number that is getting printed. So if the in this iteration j is less than middle number position, then make it number minus minus. Otherwise what you have to do, if it is not less than the middle number position, we have to increment this number guys. Like that we have to write the logic. Here we have to say number plus plus. That's it guys, simple logic. If the position of the middle number, the j position is less than the middle number position, then keep on decrementing until it becomes the middle number position. Once j is greater than, not less than the middle number position, we are going to increment the number by 1. That's it, simple logic. So let's run this code and see. This time we should get this kind of output guys. 1 2 1 2 3 2 1 3 kind of, instead of -1 -2 should get after 1 we should get incremented value like 2 3 4 kind of thing. Okay, let's see whether we are getting the output or not. Run this. Yes, we got the output 2 1 2 1 2. You see after 1 it's not becoming 0, it's becoming incrementing. After 1 we have to increment by 1, till 1 we have to decrement, right? Starting from 2, 2 minus 1 is 1, then after it becomes 1 we have to increment 1 plus 1, like that. Here also 3 2 1, till 1 it is decremented. From 1 again we are incrementing 1 2 3 kind of. So 4 3 2 1 2 3 4, again incrementing, decrementing and incrementing, decrementing and incrementing, decrementing and incrementing. Only one doesn't matter, kind of. Now we got the, this is like a 1 2 3 fourth phase of pattern output we got guys. Now the final step guys. Okay, you see we reached the final step of the diamond number pattern. What do you see the difference between this phased pattern and this phased pattern, final phased pattern? Simple guys, the only difference you see is the spaces guys. Here you see the spaces are there, here no spaces. Here before this number 1 is printed in the first row, there are 1 2 3 spaces. Before this 212 is printed, there are 2 spaces before 212. Here before this 3 2 1 2 3 are printed, 1 space is there, like that guys. Here 0 space, here 1 space, here 2 space, here 3 space. 3 2 1 space, 0 space, again 1 2 3 spaces. How to get this kind of spaces? How to customize this program which will print this pattern? To get this kind of pattern is by adding the code for printing the spaces. For that guys, let me do one thing. Here what I will do is in the first row, how many spaces should be there before printing this number 1? How many spaces should be there? 1 2 3, 3 spaces. So initially I will set the spaces to 3, like this. Okay, initially I will set the spaces to 3. Let's say in the first row, when I is equal to 1, here 3 spaces are there. Okay, so I'll write a, here I'll write a for loop. Okay, here inside this external for loop I'll create one more for loop. This is for printing the spaces guys. This for loop is for printing the spaces. For int j is equal to 1, j less than or equal to this many spaces. Initial spaces are 3, right? The first row number of spaces should be printed is 3. That's why I'm adding j less than or equal to spaces here, j plus plus, and inside this for loop we'll write a print statement like this, system dot out dot, instead of print ln we have to write the normal print, and we have to provide the space like this. This will print a space. This print statement will print the space. How many spaces? When I is 1, the initial spaces, that is 3, will be printed here. Okay, the initial spaces 3 will be printed. Fine. Now, so here 1 less than or equal to 4. What we'll do is, till I becomes kind of 4, we keep on decrementing the spaces guys. Spaces minus minus I will say. Initial spaces is 3. already they got printed and then number 1 will be printed at some point of time, right? But here what we are doing is we are saying spaces minus minus. That means the next iteration spaces count will be decremented by 1. So 3 will become 2 here. Spaces minus minus means minus 1. Original spaces 3 already got printed and 1 got printed, and now spaces minus minus spaces will become, the spaces will become 2. So here in the next iteration, how many spaces should be printed? 2. That's why we are saying spaces minus minus. Okay. Here 1 less than or equal to 4 is true, and you are saying spaces minus minus. So 2 spaces. In the next iteration, when I becomes 2, how many spaces will be printed here? J is equal to 1, j less than or equal to spaces. Here spaces become 2. So till 1 to 2, only 2 spaces will be printed in the next row. Before printing the second row, 2 spaces will be printed. Now again, here 2 less than or equal to 4, again spaces minus minus. Spaces will become 1 here. The next iteration when I becomes 3, j is equal to 1, j is less than or equal to spaces. Current value of spaces is 1. So 1 to 1 means only one space will be printed in the next row. Here only one space will be printed. That's it. Fine. One spaces will be printed in the which row? Third row. Now I becomes, okay. After this, once one space got printed here, one space got printed in the third row here. Where is the third row? The here third row. One space got printed in the third row. Now what will happen is here 3 less than or equal to 4. Third row, right? 3 less than or equal to 4. True again. Spaces minus minus will happen. So it will become 0, guys. 0 spaces. Now I will become 4. Now here j is equal to 1, j less than or equal to spaces 0. Okay, j is equal to 1, j less than or equal to 0, which is false. So no space will be printed. Okay, in the fourth row, no space will be printed like that. 0 spaces got printed in the fourth row. Now again, 4 less than or equal to 4. 4 less than or equal to 4. True again. Here spaces minus minus. This time it will become minus 1. Minus 1. There is a problem, guys. Why I'm writing minus 1? When spaces become minus 1, there is a problem going to come. We have to rectify that. I'll tell you which type of problem. When it becomes minus 1, okay, in the next iteration I becomes 5. In the fifth row, how many spaces should be printed? One space. But here, minus 1 is there. This is the problem. If minus 1 is there, this for loop will not iterate and you will not get any space printed. J is equal to 1, j less than or equal to minus 1 means no space will be printed at all. Right? That's the problem. So, to rectify that, here we should get how many spaces? The fifth row when I becomes 1, we have to get one space. So, what we have to do to make this minus 1 into kind of 1? For that, guys, we'll write like this. Only in this condition where the fourth iteration itself, okay? The fourth iteration, the space is becoming minus 1, right? It's the same iteration itself. When I is equal to 4, simply you will say spaces is equal to spaces plus 2 like this. Or you can write a short form. Okay, this is same as plus is equal to 2. Both are same. Spaces is equal to spaces plus 2 is equal to same thing. Okay, internally this is spaces is equal to spaces plus 2. Here plus 2 will be added. Here minus 1 happened before I became, here I is still 4, guys. In this iteration when I is equal to 4, spaces became minus 1. But we want to make it for the next iteration, this spaces has to become 1. So for that reason, when I is equal to 4, the iteration 4, you are going to make an exception where you are adding the spaces with 2. So minus 1 plus 2, how much? 1. Spaces will become 1 here. So when I becomes 5, j is equal to 1, j less than or equal to spaces is 1. Okay, because of this condition you kept, spaces will become 1. So one space will be printed in the fifth row like this. One space will be printed in the fifth row. Now one space got printed here. So it came here condition will become false. Once I becomes 5, 5 less than or equal to 4 is false. So we'll go to the else block. Here we need to increment the spaces. Spaces plus plus we have to say, because the next row should have two rows, two spaces. For that reason, once we go to the else block in the fifth iteration, we have to say spaces plus plus. Now spaces will become, earlier value of spaces is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So now I become 6. 6. And here j is equal to 1, j less than or equal to 2. Two spaces will be printed in the sixth row. You see, this is the sixth row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Two spaces will be printed. Fine. Then once two spaces got printed in the sixth row, here this condition will become false and we'll go to the else block. In the else block, spaces plus plus will happen. Spaces will become 3. And when I becomes 7, 3 spaces will be printed. Current value of spaces is 3. So 1, 2, 3. 3 spaces will be printed in the seventh row. 1, 2, 3 kind of done. Now, once 3 spaces got printed, then here spaces plus plus 4 will happen, no problem. Okay, even though spaces will happen 4, no problem. The next iteration I becomes 8 and this condition will become false, will come out of the for loop. That's it, done. Okay, the required number of spaces got printed, guys. In the first row 3 spaces, second row 2 spaces, third row 1 space, fourth row 0, fifth row 1 space, sixth row 2 space, seventh row 3 spaces again. Like this we are able to customize the logic to print the number of spaces perfectly. Now, after adding the spaces to this previous pattern, guys, we will get the diamond number pattern. Okay, in the same number format, we'll get the diamond number pattern, guys. Let's run this code to see whether this spaces logic is working perfectly fine or not. And we are getting the resultant or final diamond number pattern. Let's run this. You see, we got the perfect diamond number pattern here. You see 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 to 1 2 3 2 1 to 1. Perfect output we got, guys. So hope guys you understood how to write a Java program to print the diamond number pattern which looks like this. So that's it, guys. Thank you. Bye.